All right, we'll continue our media availability here at Talladega Superspeedway. We're now joined by Jimmie Johnson, driver of the number 48 Lowe's Chevrolet. Jimmie, obviously there's probably no better person than that performs in high-pressure situations than you. So talk a little bit about your quest for the NASCAR Sprint Cup Series and your chance to elevate to the next level of the eliminator round of the chase, and your thoughts about being here at Talladega this weekend.
Yeah, excited to go racing. You know, our plate program has been really strong. Our cars have been fast. We won a few plate races last year, and I certainly need to do that this year to keep my championship hopes alive. But you know, when I reflect back on the chase so far, you know, certainly not the speed that we've wanted in our cars, but I think we've been, you know, based on the majority of our performances, have kept ourselves in the mix. But we had 2 bad races, and 2 bad races would have eliminated me from any opportunity to win a championship in any chase format. So I feel like I've got a 3rd opportunity this weekend, and granted it's a tough one and a lofty goal. You know, there's many other guys out there with the same goal, not only from a chase situation but also trying to you know, win a race this year. So I've got a lot of work ahead of myself and this team this weekend, but we're ready for the challenge, and we'll go out there and get to work and see what happens.
Okay, we'll open it up for questions for Jimmie. We'll start with Jerry up front, then go to Ed and Jared.
Jimmie, Jerry Jordan, kicking the tires. The buzzword has been intensity for this chase so far, but this track has been chaos and heartbreak talking about leading up to this. If you give any thoughts of that with where you're sitting in the points overall, and also reflect on last week after the race.
Yeah, the intensity here, we've seen races very competitive and aggressive. We've also seen races where the lead group of cars decide to ride around the top and makes it a single file race. There is no rhyme or reason why that happens, so I think it's hard to predict what the race will be like. I can promise you, though, with 4 guys needing to win to transfer, that at the end of the race there will definitely be some racing. It might just be us 4 at the bottom trying to find our way around or in a different lane trying to get to the front. But you know, there's at least 4 that have, you know, a really big reason to take chances and to be aggressive and to win. Plus a lot of other teams that, you know, with this race being so equal for so many, you know, a chance to win their first race of the year, their first race of their career, whatever it might be. So I would guess that it's going to be an exciting race, but again, we just don't know until we get out there.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Ed.
Ed Hinton, ESPN.com. Jimmie, considering your circumstance, does this change the way you have raced Talladega ever? Is this going to be you've had different strategies to run this race. Does this make it different than ever before?
I've put a lot of time and thought into my approach for this weekend, and there really isn't a clear vision on how to make it work. You know, racing for it can get you in trouble. Riding can get you in trouble. If you ride, at some points you have to go to the front, and with this rules package it is much more difficult to get track position. And it seems like with 4 or 5, you know, maybe 3 pit stops to go, you need to have control of the race and maintain it. So, or at least be in first or second and have a shot to be the head of a line, and to give yourself a chance to win. So you might, I don't know. I don't know, to be honest. I think being maybe cautious early will buy you some time and maybe keep you on the road. But from the halfway point of the race on, you have to fight for track position if you want to win.
And also, could you comment on where you and Chad are at, considering all the hoopla last week? Is it worse than ever? Where are y'all at right now?
Frustration's high, for sure. I mean, you know, Chad and I in our relationship, you know, we've had these peaks and valleys. We've had times where there's been plenty of frustration on the radio, but who we are and what we are as a team and the way, you know, our relationship works and us moving forward, things are still as they've always been. I mean, it isn't fun, and I'm sure everyone hears plenty of colorful things from drivers and crew chiefs during the course of a race. Last weekend there was plenty of color on our channel, so it just comes with the territory, and you know, we're not happy with where we're at, and I don't know why we would be. So it's unfortunate that sometimes those things are aired on the radio, and you know, innocent bystanders here, or children, or others out there, but it's just part of it. So depending on how this weekend goes, we'll know what the rest of the year looks like for us. You know, if we don't win, It's going to be in our best interest to look at 2015 and what we need to do on all fronts for the 15 season, including the new rules package. So our vision would shift at that point and try to get a head start on the field and start next year where we need to be.
Okay, we'll go Jared, Tom, Bob.
Yeah, Jared Turner, FoxSports.com. Jimmy, you and Dale Jr. have always worked together so well here, particularly late in the race. But on Sunday, you're essentially going for the same thing because you both need to win to advance. How does that change your strategy of working with Dale?
You know, this rules package really limits the amount of working together that takes place on the track. When we had the pushing rules, it was much easier to work with the teammate. Now it's just by coincidence you end up around one another and can help each other. And at the end of the race, it doesn't matter if it's Junior, my mom, anybody. I've got to win. And my quest to win a 7th championship is the thing I'm most concerned about. So and I know my teammates are going to think the same way and have the same approach. So we're out there to win for our teams and for ourselves to move on and have a shot at a championship.
Okay, Tom and Bob.
Hi, Jimmy. Tom Jensen, FoxSports.com. There's nobody who's locked into the next round except the 4 and the 22. Everybody else on points, the margin is somewhere between 26 in and 26 out. For the guys who are in the top 8 but not locked in, is there any safe haven for them, anything they can do to stay in, especially with you guys charging so hard from the back?
Yeah, they can ride. I mean, you can literally ride in that second group and think of a 15th or 20th place finish and see what happens. I mean, I've been in that mindset before, and man, it's tough on the patience. And fortunately, it did work out where there were cautions at the end, and I was able to finish better than that. But there's a chance that you don't have a lot of cars taken out, and you're 26th to the good, and you finish 30th, riding in the back group, and now what? So I guess that in that alone is where the interesting part of this weekend will come in how people decide to play their cards. Will make one big part of the story, but at the same time, we've seen single file riding here and we've seen 5 wide racing, and I don't know what creates single file and what creates 5 wide, but we'll just have to see how it all plays out.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Bob, then go Jenna, Claire, Marty, and Alan.
Bob Hocker, Sporting News. Usually when you and Chad argue, there's a great pit call at the end, and you're in the top 5, and you're all kind of laughing about it. Last week, maybe the pit call kind of stymied you a little bit. Is there any sort of feeling like that maybe this season just kind of has just slipped away from you guys, or just isn't kind of meant to be?
Yeah, in certain respects, we've struggled probably for dominance or the fastest car than most years. I think that 2005 was a similar year. I look at 2011 when Tony won and Tony and Carl had that awesome battle. We were, I think, slower than we've been this year. We just didn't have any pace, and we're really frustrated. So I know it's quick to easy for some to react quickly and say, "Oh, this is the worst they've been," and things are so bad. But we've been here before. We don't like it. Nobody likes it. But we'll obviously keep working hard and try to find our way out of it. And past history shows that we do. I think we were in good position to finish well last weekend, although I'm not sure that would have changed much. Granted, it would give us a much better position on just a great finish here. If we'd run the top 5, it would open our window of opportunity to transfer. We'll just take our lumps and go. That's all we can do.
Okay, we'll now go to Claire, then Marty and Alan.
Claire Belang, Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. What about the form of qualifying that we're going to see tomorrow? And, qualifying has always sort of not meant that much here. Does it mean a lot here for the particular format of the chase, or any different than it was before, even with the different format?
It's still a plate race, so I don't find that your qualifying position dictates how your race is going to go. You can qualify in the back and still win. It's not like a traditional track where the lap matters and the setup matters and all of those things. The qualifying is going to be based on the group you're in and if you catch somebody in front of you. So there's going to be much more luck and circumstances that create your qualifying effort. With the short format of the two groups going out, it'll put an emphasis on everybody going instead of playing the games that we've been playing. You know, the only thing that's a little tricky is the fact that the fastest 24 cars go. You know, you might have a group, you might get 20 cars from one grouping. You can have all 24 from one grouping. I guess I don't know if the math works out for that, but what I'm getting at is, you know, how that dynamic works on the track. It make a little bit more sense if they took 12 from each grouping, but we'll just have to see how this first round plays out.
Okay, we'll take our next question from Marty, then go to Alan. Hold on, Marty. We'll get a mic to you.
Hey, Johnson. Marty Smith, ESPN. What did you think of that mess after the race last weekend? I know you bolted, but from what you've seen, what was your reaction to NASCAR's decision in the aftermath? And secondly, what is the driving corps' perception of Brad Keselowski?
The driving what?
Corps. That would be you and your fellow drivers. Like core of people.
I see. Sorry. Your southern accent may have tripped me up a little bit.
I'll keep working on it.
Yeah, after the race was, I still need to go back through and look at it all. I'm disconnected on Sunday and was off to test in Phoenix. When I got to Phoenix, I caught up with the other drivers and talked to Matt and everyone. And I hate that I missed so much excitement following the race. And there's also some scary moments from the sounds of it. So, you know, I think importance needs to really shift towards safety in the garage area, safety on pit road. Those are two environments that there should be no exceptions on, and you know, NASCAR's ruling shows that they're serious about that, and hopefully, you know, it keeps those areas safe. On the track, you know, Brad's always been a tough racer. I haven't had any recent run-ins with him. You know, I think that he's in a position he doesn't want to be in right now, and along with a few other guys. And when you're in that position, you know, it's hard to hit the 100% mark. Sometimes you end up at 105, 120, and you start doing things that you might not want to do, or make little mistakes that cost others. And with the intensity being so high, and other chasers being affected by it, that you know, you have the situation that we do. But I feel that Brad is very well respected for his talents on the racetrack. And, you know, people get upset, people get frustrated, and stuff happens. And I think it's all by design. You know, we have this format and this elimination process for a reason. So it is living up to the hype that it was intended to. But, you know, on the track, again, I think that Brad is well respected for his talents. I think he's given a hard time by many in the garage for being so outspoken and other aspects of, you know, the whole thing of racing. But certainly on the track, I mean, he's a wheelman. He gets it done.
Final question, Alan.
Alan Cavana, NASCAR.com. Jimmy, can you remember the last time you were in a situation where really nothing else mattered except winning? And does that take any pressure off you on Sunday?
Talladega takes a lot of pressure off of a driver until race time because not much you can do. So I'm trying to think through in my mind if I'm any different because it's Talladega or the situation we're in. In recent time, I mean, I go back to racing Denny for the championship in Homestead, knowing that was one of his better tracks, and felt like I had to go down there and win the race to win the championship. They had some trouble, and it changed that, but the build-up to that event was similar. But I think the majority right now of my head and the relaxed week and my calmness right now is just due to being Talladega, and my job's really not important until Sunday. And then I'm sure the pressure will kick in.